Howdy ho, Buckaroo. Hope you guys are having a good day. It's Jordan, the Midwest Game Guy, MGG for short. Welcome to a special event. Usually we on the channel we have Backlog Tuesdays where I play games that have started and trying to finish them up on the channel so I can have complete playlists on YouTube eventually. Today we're doing a special event in place of that. We were reached out to by a representative of KK Studio, who is the creators of the game you see before us, case number one, The Rose Academy, which is as I've looked up, a visual novel, dating sim, murder mystery, romance game, visual novel. So it should be a lot of different things, a lot of fun stuff. I see plenty of dateable and suspicious anime girls to review, question, and get to know. So it should be a good time. Yeah, so thanks very much to KK Studio for reaching out to me via email and asking to see if I'd be interested in playing their demo on the channel. And of course, I love helping out any small indie creators that I can, especially those who reach out to me and personally ask me to see if I'm interested in playing their games. So more times than not, I say yes. Luckily, my voice is a lot better. I think they asked me to do this a week or two ago, and or reached out for initial interest, and my voice was just shot from the sickness and sore throat and phlegm and stuff. So I'll be able to read for an hour and a half to 2 hours tonight. I think the demo's about 90 to 120 minutes or so, depending on how slow or fast I go. So yeah, should be a good time. Hope you guys are ready for some dating sim anime goodness with a touch of murder and a little bit of detective work mixed in. So yeah, should be a fun time. I'm just gonna turn the game on, check the audio real quick on my laptop, and we should be good to go. I did want to give quick shout outs real quick also. Thank you very much to our newest followers from the last couple of days. Thank you to Thunderous Quiet and Magnet Chip for being our most recent followers of the Midwest Gaming fam. Appreciate you very much. Our current follower count at 333. 333 currently in the Midwest Gaming fam. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here, being loyal, supporting us, being goofy with us, and always sticking around for whatever may happen. Let me get this popped up here and we will check the sound on the old laptop and we'll get going with this dating sim visual novel detective game with romance elements. KK Studios. Let's see how it sounds. Bubba booey. That should be good. Just hit refresh real quick. And as always, there will be command timers going around showing a quick blurb of the Steam page of the game and the creators of the game and where you can find a link to look into the demo. If you're interested, I was told by a representative from the game team that the game will be coming out planned for March of 2026 currently. So March 2026 for the potential full version. As far as I know, it's only on Steam and other PC platforms at the moment, so let's get into it and see what this is the first taste of the demo of the game and see how much fun we have in store for us in the coming year. Alright, new game. The cityscape had a long given way to endless forest outside the window, but I was so lost in thought that I had noticed nothing around me. Sorry, just adjusting. Don't mind me. Driver was saying something about the beautiful view and unusually warm September weather, but his words dissolved into the air, never reaching my mind. Usually I'm attentive to details, noticing any small things others miss, an inevitable professional deformation of a special agent. But that day, it felt like even if a red van drove past me, I wouldn't notice it. It was good that I was just a passenger that day and could afford to get lost in memories of what had happened in the morning. Ah. A morning phone call interrupted my morning magic, which consisted of a cup of espresso and reading the news. He's quite mature for his age, it sounds like. I rarely break my own rules, never answering unknown numbers, especially during vacation. But this time, something was different. A premonition told me this call wasn't random. The phone continued to vibrate incessantly. I reached out and, after a second's hesitation, answered the call. I'm a handsome blue-eyed boy. My name's James. Hello. Unknown. James? The girl's voice sounded vaguely familiar, but I couldn't recall where I'd heard it before. Who is this? Perhaps you don't remember me. It's been many years. It's Nika. We were at the same summer camp together, Bears Cliff. Do you remember? Her name triggered a wave of long-forgotten memories, washing the rest of the world out of my head. Ooh. Nika, my first love. Of course I remembered. There are things you don't forget. I remember. It's so unexpected to hear from you after 10 years? Yes, 10. It's hard to believe. So this year marks the anniversary of our first meeting. The girl's voice sounded cheerful, almost playful. However, I was too surprised to play along. Let's move this up. And our last meeting, too. Nika, has something happened? For a couple of seconds, silence hung on the line. I could almost see her biting her lower lip, a habit she had always had when she was nervous. I wonder if she still has this habit after all these years. You're right. Something has happened. I wish the reason for my call were just the anniversary, but there's something more serious. I've heard you become one of the best in your field. How does she know I'm a special agent? That's classified information. Despite my curiosity, it's not a question to ask over the phone. Anyway, I need your help, James. What exactly is the matter? Oh. Somebody, seems to be swinging from the rafters there. And not in the most fun way. Oof. Trigger warning. I'm the principal of a girls' school, and one of our students died yesterday. Looks like a suicide, but she had no reason for it. Although it may sound strange, my experience tells me there's something more going on here. Vacation, huh? And now I'm investigating something again? A schoolgirl's suicide. That's not even my specialization. Damn it, why did I agree to it? Just because I heard her voice. Oh, he still has feelings for her. So many years, and all this time, she had my number. She knew who I was, but she never called after what happened. What had really happened? It was puppy love, what truly connects us besides stories from summer camp. But no matter how hard I tried to convince myself that we had nothing in common, I couldn't forget how 10 years ago I rushed to the post office after returning from camp. With trepidation and pounding heart, I hoped to find a reply to my letter addressed to Nika. I remember how week after week I could never find that letter in a pile of fresh mail. I remember pleading with my parents to visit Nika on the other side of the country to make sure she was okay. I remember my father finding her home phone number and how I dialed it. On the other end of the line, I heard that Nika's family had moved and the new tenants didn't have their current address or number. The driver's voice pulled me out of my reflections on the past. We've arrived. When the driver stopped the car for a moment, I doubted we'd arrive at the correct address. The building, visible beyond the gates, looked more like a luxurious mansion belonging to some European aristocrat than a girls' school. Oh, a first ad break in about a minute, y'all. First ad break in about a minute. Taking my bag from the trunk and paying the driver, I double-checked the address on my phone. Rose Academy. Address seems correct, so it really is a school. Judging by its location and appearance, the girls here aren't from simple families. As I approached the gates, I automatically noticed the flicker of a miniature sensor hidden within the gate's decorative element. I had seen such hidden facial recognition systems many times before. The only difference was that they were usually in government buildings or at secret headquarters meetings rather than in civilian institutions. Before my finger could press the call button, a mechanical voice came from a hidden speaker. Please state your name and purpose of your visit. James Crofton. I am here by personal invitation from the principal. For a couple of seconds, the system went silent, processing the information. Ah, yes. I walked through the gates, and they smoothly closed behind me. There were a few students in identical uniforms standing on the lawn. Noticing me, they immediately began whispering, casting curious glances my way. I pretended not to notice them, but my ears caught every word of their not-so-quiet conversation. Do you see him too, or am I tripping? He's so handsome. I wish he were our new teacher. Then I go to all his classes, especially the extracurricular ones, if you know what I mean. Damn, well, we're starting off hot. These people are really horned up already. I assume guests are rare at this school. It's no surprise that a new person on Academy grounds becomes an object of intense scrutiny. And considering it's a girls' school, it seems that I'm sparking a special interest among the students. The path from the gates to the door seemed like a red carpet. The closer I got to the school, the more curious stares I felt. Groups of schoolgirls of various ages strolling through the grounds fell silent at my appearance, then immediately erupted into whispers behind my back. I don't remember ever getting this attention. That's pleasant. I must admit, I even like it. Feigning interest in landscape design, I suddenly turned towards a lonely senior student. She was standing nearby, her intense gaze fixed on me from the moment I stepped on the school grounds. Unknown. Our glances met for a moment, and I managed to notice her reddened eyes. Her fingers nervously fidgeted with the hem of her skirt. Unlike the other students, who were looking at me with curiosity, her face expressed tension and some inner anxiety. Catching my gaze, she quickly turned away. What a beautiful girl. And she seems upset about something. Should I ask if she's okay? Hold on, not the time. Not for skirts, not for emotions. Investigation, James. Ah, he's a James Bond ladies' man, eh? I involuntarily shook my head, dispelling the intrusive thought. I took a deep breath as if before diving into the water and pushed the heavy front door open. Surprisingly, there were no guards inside the building. Instead of live security, there were small surveillance cameras set up everywhere around you. Looked around, trying to figure out where to go next. The lobby branched off into several corridors, none of them marked with a principal's office sign. Great, I'm in a school the size of a small palace, and there's no one to ask where to go. Guess I'll have to rely on my intuition. I chose the corridor leading to the right of the main entrance. In a wide hallway with high ceilings, I saw the portraits of past graduates and glass display cases containing trophies and medals. I even recognized the face of a famous political figure in one of the photographs. Every moment I spent here, I became more convinced that this institution wasn't just a school, but a forge of the elite. After walking to the end of the corridor and finding nothing resembling the principal's office, I decided to turn the corner. Oh! Ran into somebody. Typical anime. I felt a shove that nearly made me lose my balance. It took me a few seconds to collect myself and realize what had happened. Oh dear. Fan service already, you say? Hello, nurse. Goodness. That's very good shielding of the paper there. There were textbooks scattered across the floor, and their owner looked up at me with wide, frightened eyes. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? You didn't hurt yourself? For some reason, the simple question made her cheeks flush bright red. No, I'm fine. It's just I'm very clumsy. My mom used to tell me when I was little that I had 2 left feet. It's always like this with me. Girl adjusted her glasses and looked with annoyance at the scattered textbooks. Help pick up the books. And knelt to help the girls gather the... Oh, it affected the relationship. The spilled books. Oh, you don't have to. I can do it myself. It's no trouble. Are you sure you didn't hurt yourself? No, I'm fine. Thank you so much. I picked the last textbook, The Final Exam Eliminating the Competition, and handed it to the girl. Noticing the title of the book in my hand, she became even more embarrassed and quickly snatched it, carefully avoiding touching my fingers. Oh. Since we bumped into each other, maybe you can tell me how to get to the principal's office? I got lost in these endless corridors. Oh, the principal's office. Of course I know. Sorry. I straight down the corridor and then left. You won't miss it. There's a sign on the door. And thank you again for helping with the books. Her face brightened. Seemed she was glad she could help in some way. I adjusted my jacket and headed in the indicated direction. Such a prestigious school and no signs. Though perhaps it is part of their educational philosophy to foster independence. It's good I managed to ask the girl where Nika's office was, or else I'd be wandering around here until evening. Following the direction the girl in glasses pointed me in, I found a corridor with a door proudly displaying a sign, Principal Veronica Preston. Wow, so Nika is actually a short form of her full name. Seems I know very little about her. 10 years had passed, but I still remember her as the girl from camp. Yet in that time, she'd become the principal of an elite school. I paused for a second before the door, gathering my thoughts. Beyond this door was not only information about the mysterious death of a student, but also a meeting with the person from the past who, it seemed, had long been left behind. I took a deep breath and knocked. A muffled "come in" came from behind the door. I turned the knob and stepped into the office. James, is that really you? Nika, as expected, had changed in 10 years. Her soft, childlike features I knew were gone. Nika was always beautiful, but I didn't think she'd become such a stunning woman. Her eyes, still clear and expressive, now held a new, unfamiliar depth. Faint lines had appeared at the corners of her lips, giving her smile a special charm. Seeing me, Nika rose from her seat. Her suit perfectly accentuated her status as the principal of a prestigious school, while still highlighting her graceful figure. Nika seems generally happy to see me, yet she maintains a certain distance. I wonder if it's a professional habit or something personal between us. Please come in, have a seat. She pointed to the chair opposite the desk and sat back down in the principal's seat. Nika looks unexpectedly at home behind this massive desk, even despite her relatively young age. I'm glad to see you. It's such a shame that we're meeting under these circumstances. Give a compliment. Glad to see you too, Nika. You look great, and I must admit this position suits you. Maddie. Maddie. Hey, baby. Maddie. Sit. High five. Kissy. Kissy. She's like, I'm too busy. Maddie, kissy. Thank you. Ready? And catch. Oh, you missed. She's a cutie pie. She looks good. You two gonna relax out there for a little bit? Uh-oh. Okay. You're fine. I appreciate you. Love you. I don't know what happened. Okay, never mind. Maddie smacked the mouse. I don't know. She must have saved the game or something. I'm glad to see you, Nika. You look great. I must admit this position suits you. Principal Veronica Preston sounds impressive. And what should I call you now? Veronica, Miss Preston, or my lady? What's that? Principal Prickly. Flirt with Principal Prickly in his golf pants. My dad, my own father. Barry Goldwater. Michael Dukakis. Her eyebrows subtly arched, and then she unexpectedly smiled. That same smile I hadn't seen in years, but could never forget. Oh, please, no formalities. My parents call me Veronica when I've done something wrong, and Miss Preston is for schoolgirls and teachers. My lady sounds more interesting, but I'm afraid if anyone heard this, they might misunderstand us. For you, I've always been, and will always just be, Nika. You've changed too, by the way. You've matured and become even more serious. Though, you know, even at camp, you stood out among the other guys. Do you remember that terrible screeching on the train ride to camp? I remember being scared to death, and you just got up and asked everyone to calm down. I told myself back then, this boy is special. Glad to see I wasn't wrong. Well, you're no Shrieking Violet either. Remember how coolly you chased that giant spider out of your cabin. I'd forgotten about that. It's been so much time. Love you, Mama. It's nice that you remember such small details. After so many years, well, you know, those childhood memories usually fade. She hesitated slightly as if she wanted to say something more, but her professionalism won out. Professionalism. Love to chat with you and reminisce about all the camp stories, but I'm afraid this isn't the best time for nostalgia. Unfortunately, we need to discuss something less pleasant. You're right, let's get straight to the matter. Tell me more with the student. What exactly happened? Nika took a deep breath, collecting her thoughts. It was clear that talking about what happened was difficult for her. Yesterday, we found out one of our students hanged in the... We found one of our students hanged in the changing room by the pool. Oh, man. Her name was Evelyn Frost, a senior student and member of the swimming team. Interesting. Evelyn was one of our best students. No one could have imagined she was capable of such a thing. We called the police and the ambulance. We followed all protocols, but it's a great tragedy for our entire school. The girls are scared, their parents are called every 5 minutes, and the teachers are shocked. Nothing like this has ever happened here before. Nika, I'm sorry, but suicides usually don't require precautions like calling in specialists like me. Why did you decide to contact me? I called you so you could take a fresh look at all this and conduct a small investigation. I need an objective answer, why Evelyn might have done this. Just a couple weeks ago, we were discussing her plans for the future, which, by the way, were quite ambitious. But her ambition was natural. She was one of our leading contenders for a grant. Ooh, special. Wait, what grant? Every year, our best graduate gets the opportunity to enter any university in the country without any tests or exams. It's not just admission, they cover her tuition, housing, and all other expenses. Of course, the competition is fierce. They consider everything, and not just grades, but also sports achievements, community work, and leadership qualities. Evelyn had every chance of getting this grant, so it's incomprehensible to me what could have pushed her to do this. You see, I can't be objective. For me, our students and teaching staff are almost a family. I know these girls not just from their documents and grades. I see them every day. I watch them grow. And when something like this happens, it's like a punch to the gut. I feel responsible for Evelyn, to her parents, to other students. Right now, I just need a clear head on by my side. Besides, I don't have much time. What do you mean? How much time do we have for the investigation? The Board of Trustees meeting is in 4 days. They expect answers, and if we don't provide them, the school will likely be closed. Some parents have already said they'll withdraw their daughters from the school if we don't get guarantees of their safety, so we need to figure out what really happened. If it was suicide, we must understand the cause and do everything to prevent it from happening again. And if it was something else, we need to resolve it even faster. Do you already have the forensic report? Was there any signs of any violent death found? They promised to send the information this evening. As soon as I get the report, I'll inform you immediately. Are there surveillance cameras in the pool area or the corridors leading to it? If you have any doubts that she did this herself, the recordings might help put an end to this matter, probably even before the forensic report. Of course, I haven't seen the recordings yet, but I've asked our technician to download and prepare all the footage from last night. Nika looked at her watch on her wrist and then shifted her gaze to the wall clock as if checking the time. Her movements betrayed some impatience. They'll be ready in 20 minutes. Of course, there are no cameras inside the changing rooms, but there's a camera in the pool area and more cameras in the corridor leading to the pool. In any case, if it's a suicide, cameras are unlikely to give us the answer of why Evelyn did it. So let's start from the beginning. Where, who, and what time was the body found? In the changing room by the second pool, around 10 in the evening. Annie Harper, her classmate, found her. Wait, the second pool? Does your school have more than one? The school has 2 pools. One is for regular physical education classes, for students not specializing in swimming, and the second pool is specifically for swimmers. Did Evelyn have a key to the pool? Instead of a key, we use a face scanner. Access is available to me, Coach Sam Rivers, and the girls in the swimming team. By the way, I've already requested to give you access as well, so you can enter the pool anytime. Doesn't the system save data on who entered and when? The scanner installed at the pool doesn't save data. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time to update it. Only the scanner on the main gate saves data and recordings, but in any case, Evelyn didn't leave school grounds. Our only adults are allowed to leave the school grounds, and Evelyn wasn't 18 yet. Well, we'll work with what we have. You said our classmate Annie found her. Is Annie also a swimmer? Yes, Annie is on the swimming team, and our school classes aren't formed by age but by specialization. We have science, arts, humanities, and of course the sports department, which features several disciplines including swimming. Evelyn and all the other swimmers she trained with were also classmates. They not only practiced together at the pool, but they also attended most classes adapted to their training schedule. That probably simplifies things, so we need to focus on the girls from the swimming team. I pulled out a notepad and pen from the inner pocket of my jacket. The habit of writing down details remained from my first investigations. Notepad. Something important could slip from memory, so in some cases, every little thing mattered. Please send me the data on everyone who has access to the pool, including students, teachers, and maintenance staff. All the maintenance staff were off for the weekend, so they weren't at school. I am not sure it's worth spending time on them. As for the rest, I've already prepared the key information for you. Nika handed me a folder. Inside I found photos of the coach and students, along with short information about each. Nika's phone vibrated, and at the very second, a sound notification chimed in her computer. She glanced at the monitor, her expression abruptly changing. I know it's urgent, I just have a couple more questions. Looks like time is really limited. I need to ask my questions wisely. More about Evelyn, what she liked. What were Evelyn's relationships with other students like? Who else was a contender for the grant besides Evelyn? Could Evelyn or her family have enemies? What was Annie doing so late at the pool? Who else was a contender for the grant besides Evelyn? And how serious was the competition? I knew you'd ask about that. This morning, I wanted to get the documents for the graduating students from the teacher's lounge, all their rankings, grades, and even personal notes from teachers about each student. Sorry. I'm mostly over like the cough and the phlegm and everything, but a little bit still remains, but it's not near what it was even a couple days ago. And the most interesting thing is that these papers have gone missing. Someone must have taken them to work on and forgotten to return them. I'll have to check with my colleagues. Regarding the grant this year, it was mainly Evelyn and her classmate Mickey Elderwood who were competing for it. Both are very talented, but in different areas. Evelyn was our star in the pool, and Mickey's a genius in the exact sciences. She had no equal in mathematics and physics. She even won the National Olympiads twice. A good motive. I'll need to talk to this Mickey. Could Evelyn or her family have had enemies outside of the school? It's quite possible. Our school mainly educates daughters of wealthy and influential parents, and such people always have enemies, as you understand. Evelyn's parents own a network of pharmaceutical companies. I heard their business has been growing a lot lately, and their competitors didn't like it. On one hand, thanks to her wealthy parents, Evelyn had many privileges. On the other hand, she could have become a target for those who wanted to harm her family. That brings up a logical question. Could outsiders have entered the school? Extremely unlikely. We have automatic facial recognition cameras. If they were a stranger, a system would immediately alert me. Our database only contains our students and a few staff members. We only allow visitors in by appointment and with an escort. Even parents are no exception. It might seem like it's too much security, but given whose children study here, that's necessary for their safety. Reminds me of the security for Anya in Spy Family and all the people she goes to school with, all the politicians' sons and daughters and all that stuff. What was Annie doing so late at the pool? You mentioned that Annie, Evelyn's classmate, found the body. What was Annie doing at the pool at 10 p.m. on a weekend? Nika frowned and shook her head. Honestly, I don't know. When Annie came running to me in tears, the last thing I cared about was what she was doing there so late. I think you better ask her that question personally. Okay, I'll figure it out. The picture of what happens was slowly forming in my mind. Of course, it wasn't complete, but I had the initial ideas. Do you think the camera recordings are ready yet? Or does the technician need more time? I think we can go down and check it. Johnson usually works very fast. He might have already prepared them. We both rose from our chairs, but before we could take a step, the office door burst open without a knock. A woman in a tracksuit almost flew into the room. Hello there. Miss Preston, I have an emergency. The woman stopped mid-sentence, noticing me in the office, but she didn't look embarrassed. She was probably assessing what was happening. Sorry, I didn't know you had a visitor. I seem to have interrupted your conversation. I should have knocked. It's okay, that's James Crofton, the specialist I invited to help us understand the situation. James meets Sam Rivers, our swimming coach. So what's your emergency? I'm afraid this emergency is sitting in front of you. The entire school is buzzing because of a man in a suit. People are spreading rumors. I came to ask that the police not torment the students with endless interrogations. It's enough for the girls traumatized by their classmates' death. James isn't exactly from the police. He's an experienced investigation specialist who will help us figure out what happened. As for talking to the girls, it's a necessity. We need to understand what could have pushed Evelyn to do this. Besides, I've already received consent from both the parents and students for these conversations. Sam crossed her arms over her chest. No disrespect, but we don't need to be a detective to understand that the girl probably couldn't handle the responsibility. Oh, is a music shift. I didn't get a chance to ask what kind of responsibility she was referring to as the piercing wail of a fire alarm echoed through the building. Nika immediately turned to her desk and reached for her computer. A few quick keystrokes and her face froze. It's not a drill. The security system is showing there's a fire on the 3rd floor and the server room is burning. Johnson's up there preparing the recordings. Nika rushed to the door. Sam and I followed her. Oh shit. The corridor was running in motion. Students and teachers were exiting classrooms in organized chaos. We struggled to make our way through the crowd running towards us. The murmur of voices and blares of alarms filled the school. Nika on the move and issued instructions on the teacher's side. Teachers she met along the way. Mrs. Parker, please make sure all junior students come out to the front yard. Jenkins, contact the fire department. Aww. Middle-aged woman, apparently one of the teachers, was trying to soothe a sobbing girl, while other students lined up along the wall. Somewhere in the distance, there were shouts of senior teachers coordinating the evacuation. Nika confidently led us through a labyrinth of corridors, climbing higher and higher up the stairs, skipping steps. On the 3rd floor, we returned to an empty corridor. There were no students, only the smell of smoke that grew more intense with each step. Having reached the end, we stopped in front of a small room from under whose door gray plumes were billowing. Johnson, are you there? There was no answer. We looked around and noticed a fire extinguisher on the wall. Without wasting time, I ripped it from its mount. I knew it could be dangerous, but every second counted. Step aside. I pulled the door open and directed a stream of foam at the source of the fire. The flames quickly receded. Despite all the smoke, the fire was small. Flames retreated under the pressure of the chemical. Although the smoke made it seem like a serious blaze, the fire wasn't massive. Near the charred wires and melted microchips were the blackened remains of an external hard drives. After extinguishing the last flickers, I looked around. It was a small room, like a storage closet, with several monitors and technical equipment. Thank God no one's here. Johnson must have evacuated with the others. Your technician probably survived, which is more than I can say for the computers. What a weird coincidence. The fire occurred when we were about to get the camera recordings. Too strange to happen randomly. True that. Looks like someone didn't want to see the records from those cameras. It's quite likely this could relate to the girl's death. Is someone destroying evidence? We should find Johnson and figure out why this fire started so inopportunely and where he was at the time. I'll take care of that. I also need to call on the students and staff. The sooner we normalize the situation, the better. James, maybe you could talk to Miss Rivers for now. She was Evelyn's coach and mentor. Perhaps she can tell you something. I don't mind. I'd also like to examine the spot where the body was found. Sam, could you please show James the pool and changing room? I'll join you later. Sure, no problem. Nika, take your time. I'll talk to Miss Rivers and Evelyn's classmates. It's just Sam for you. Oh. Sam gave me a slight wink with an unexpected playfulness that didn't at all match her previous serious demeanor. Nika's reaction was barely noticeable, just a slight tension in her jawline, and a fleeting pause before she nodded and turned to leave. An invisible spark of tension seemed to flash between the two women, something I couldn't help but notice. Seemed like Nika is jealous? I followed Nika with my eyes and then hurried to catch up with Sam, who was already moving in the opposite direction. In silence, we walked down the corridor and descended to the 1st floor. The fire alarm had already quieted, but a faint scent of smoke still lingered in the air. Oh, I can see this. Cool. Evelyn. All we know about her is that she's died. Her last name was Frost. She's 17 years old. Mickey Elderwood, classmate, 16 years old. Competition for the grant. One of the leading contenders for the grant. Sophie. We met her outside. She had the red eyes. 18. Vivian Devereaux, classmate, 17 years old, unknown. Annie Harper, or also known as Toradora, classmate, 17 years old. Sam, swimming coach, 33 years old. Relationship with Nika, Mickey. So far, so good with these. With everybody. Cool. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 6 different relationships to keep up. In silence, we walked down the corridor and descended to the first floor. The fire alarm had already quieted, but a faint scent of smoke still lingered in the air. The coach kept one step ahead, leading me through the labyrinth of school corridors. Her confident gait and perfect posture unmistakably revealed a person from whom sport was a way of life, not just a profession. We passed several turns, went through double doors, and found ourselves in a spacious room with a high ceiling. The smell of chlorine immediately hit my nose. Nice. Here we are, the champion's home. The coach's voice softened, taking on playful notes. If you're not the police, then where are you from? Curiosity flickered in her eyes. She looked at me, her head tilted as if trying to solve a puzzle. I'm more of a security consultant. Miss Preston invited me in as an independent expert. Security consultant. Sounds mysterious. Took a step towards me, closing the distance. A mysterious man in a perfect suit and handsome suit, just like in the movies. I want to examine the changing room where the body was found. Could you show me? She nodded at me and headed towards the door on the right of the hall. I followed her, trying to focus on the case, not on her overt flirting. Changing room looked as usual. Rows of metal lockers, wooden benches, and a few shower stalls. I carefully examined the room, trying to understand what could have happened here today. What was Evelyn's locker number? 17. She answered without a second's hesitation. Does the coach know the locker numbers of all her students? Just a select few. I looked around the room again, trying to see something that might offer a clue. Nothing of interest. I crouched down and looked under the bench. At the moment, I felt a piercing gaze on me. Turning around, I noticed Sam quickly averting her eyes, but not fast enough for me to miss her gaze fixed on my butt. Didn't she leave a note? A note? No, nothing like that. And why would she? It's not her style. Why do you think so? Even when she was alive, the girl barely opened her mouth. I drilled her in the pool for 3 years, and all the time we might have exchanged a couple of phrases beyond swim faster and keep your head back straight. She was, how should I put it, reserved. For her, this was the pool, the stopwatch, and the result. My gaze slid over to the rows of lockers and stopped at the schedule attached but to the side of the locker. I stepped closer to get a better look at the notes. Training schedule, Monday, group training, Evelyn Frost, Mickey Elderwood, Sophie Williams, Vivian Devereaux, Annie Harper, Vivian Devereaux, Sophie Williams. Group training, Evelyn Frost, Mickey Elderwood, Annie Harper, Sophie Williams, Vivian Devereaux, Mickey Elderwood, Annie Harper, Evelyn Frost, Annie Harper. Evelyn's last training session was 4 p.m. on Friday. But yesterday at the pool, they would have been an individual session with Annie Harper. Sunday entry stood out. It was written in blue marker while the rest of the schedule was in black, clearly added later. My gaze stopped at a thick water pipe running along the ceiling. That's where they found her? Yep, it's the only place for hanging here. Sam instinctively reached for her neck, massaging her tense muscles, a physical sign of emotional discomfort. Her face remained surprisingly calm for someone talking about the death of her student. Okay. Next ad break in about a minute, y'all. Next ad break in about a minute. I approached locker number 17 and examined it. An ordinary metal locker, no different from the others, with a small blue towel and flip-flops inside. Sam Rivers didn't take her eyes off me, her sneaker tapping nervously on the tiled floor. Maybe we should move on to my office to continue our talk. Okay, I think I'm done here. Coach's office is small but comfortable, with cabinets full of trophies and walls covered with the photos of smiling girls with medals around their necks. In the corner with a small sofa in the center of the room was occupied by a desk piled with folders and papers. I settled on the sofa and Sam headed towards the coat rack and began pulling off her sweatshirt. After running around the corridors, I think I've had a good workout. Heated and sweaty. I urgently need to do something about it. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Sam pulled the zipper down slowly, almost demonstratively, took off her sweatshirt. My gaze lingered on Sam. I'm just a man. What do you want from me? I couldn't tear my eyes away from Sam. Underneath her sweatshirt was a tight tank top that barely contained her full breast. That's putting it mildly, yes. The fabric outlined every curve of her toned body, showcasing the results of years of training. Our eyes unexpectedly met, and I realized she had been watching my reaction the whole time. A satisfied, almost predatory smile played on her lips. There was a pure contentment in her gaze. My reaction definitely pleased her. I need to focus on the investigation, not on the obvious advantages of the swimming coach, though I must admit the advantages are quite impressive. Sam settled into the opposite chair, crossing one leg over the other and leaning slightly forward. Her gaze was fixed directly on me as if she was trying to read my thoughts. So, where were we? When we were in the principal's office, you said you weren't surprised Evelyn killed herself. Why? Even though I'm her coach, and I shouldn't say this, Evelyn Frost was a very odd girl. I never saw her smile, can you believe it? Not once. Even when she broke the school record at competitions, no joy, just a nod. But Evelyn was a damn talented swimmer. I had high hopes for her, and planned to make her an Olympic champion. Interesting, she talks about Evelyn like a lost chance at glory, not a deceased student. Lately, have you noticed any changes in Evelyn's behavior? Perhaps she seemed depressed or upset? Hard to say, I've never clear what that girl was feeling. She'd come in, train hard, and leave, all in silence with a stony face. You know, I always felt that swimming wasn't her choice. Her parents probably pushed her and constantly demanded results. She probably just got tired at some point. And what was her relationship with her teammates like? The girls, of course, gave her dirty looks, but they didn't bully her. They were mutually indifferent to each other, I'd say. Although they trained together, it was hard to call them a team. I want to clarify one more thing. Where did Evelyn get the rope she used to hang herself? Sam frowned slightly and quickly looked around. She probably snatched it from here, from the coach's office. I have a few ropes for training. Shouldn't the coach's office be locked? There was never a need, before all this mess, of course. But you just opened the door with a key when we came in. A fleeting look of confusion crossed Sam's face, which she instantly hid behind a playful smile. Detective, are you suspecting me of something? Of course, I started locking doors after what happened. Didn't you go to the pool last night? On Sunday night, I certainly love sports, but not that much. Sam leaned forward, gazing intently into my eyes. The corners of her lips slightly upturned in a faint smile. Last night, I was bored to tears in my double bed. You know, at moments like that, you really feel how big it is for one person. Hi, Mama. You okay? You doing okay? Oh, all these girls are hitting on me. All these fake anime girls are hitting on me, Mama. Was that? I'm making my wife take her medication faster. I'll have what she's having. That's the swimming coach. The nice. The person who died pulled a Sayori from Doki Doki Literature Club.
Drink their piss?
No, Doki Doki Literature Club. Sayori, best friend next door.
Yeah.
But they think somebody did it too, though. There's foul play. Honk honk. Honk honk. Foul.
She wants to have
Geese.
some foul play.
Everybody does. Apparently, you get one choice to every decision. Either you flirt with the person or you don't. Basically. Yeah, I've done with everybody so far. We've had one upskirt shot and one sweatshirt removal. Upskirt shot was a different person, but they were clothed. There's hope for us still. I love you. Last night I was bored to tears in my double bed. You know, at moments like that, you can really feel how big it is for one person. Though I think you can help me with that little problem. A detective with such abilities surely knows how to entertain a lady when she's lonely. I met her gaze and allowed myself a slight smile. In investigations, as in relationships, it's important not to rush. First, you must gather all the facts and examine the details, then make conclusions. Perhaps when the case is closed, we can discuss your problem in more detail. Sam's eyes sparkled with pleasure. She appreciated my answer. I like your strategy, Mr. Crofton. I think I don't have any more questions for you today, although no, I don't. I do have one. Could you tell me where I could find Annie Harper? Sam's eyebrows rose, a flicker of surprise mixed with wariness across her face. Harper? Why do you need her? She hardly communicated with Evelyn. Annie found the body. At least I need to understand why she went to the pool at that time. Maybe she knew something. The girl's most likely in her room right now. This dormitory is in the east wing. She rose from her chair, took her sweatshirt from the hanger, and put it back on. I'll show you the way. The school is big. It's easy to get lost. We stopped in the corridor. The building was gradually filling with students and staff. The girls were returning from, in groups, quietly chatting with each other. Sam confidently led me through the halls to the side wing of the building. At our appearance, conversations immediately died down. All the students' attention turned to us. One of the girls, as she walked past, looked at Sam and me with curiosity. Her eyes swept over me with undisguised interest, but when she met his coach's stern, warning gaze, she immediately looked away and quickened her pace. We ascended the spacious staircase to the second floor, where the corridor branched to several directions. Students' rooms are in the east wing. The girls live in pairs. We group them by their focus, the sports girls and nerds. It's easier to monitor them and avoid confusion that way. That's right, you nerds over there, you sporties over there. That's how we do it. Harper's roommate is currently in the chemistry class. Sam lowered her voice and leaned closer, her eyes sparkling playfully. By the way, I live not far from here, room 91, just around the corner, just in case you need extra information, or something a bit stronger than coffee after a hard day. I'll keep that in mind. Sam smiled slightly. My answer seemed to satisfy her. She walked down the corridor and noticed that the room doors had numbers, some of them decorated with stickers or drawings. Finally, Sam stopped in front of door 63. There were no decorations on it, just a small metal plate with the number. Here we are. Coach knocked briefly. There was no answer. Talked again a little bit more insistently. Maybe the girls haven't returned from the evacuation yet. About to leave when a quiet rushing sound from behind the door. A couple seconds later, the door creaked open a few centimeters. Annie, may we come in? What was my, the thing I learned? Lives in room 91. Got it. That's Annie, okay. Sorry. Sorry. Toradora. The girl silently opened the door wider, letting us in. Maybe Sam got the wrong door and we accidentally walked into a junior high student's room? The girl's head barely reached my chest, but the coach wasn't surprised. She's so tiny, it's hard to believe she's a high school senior, much less a swimmer. This is Mr. Crofton. He should talk about Evelyn. If you don't want to, you don't have to talk to anyone. We understand. Brief exchange of glances between Annie and Sam didn't escape my attention. My job has taught me to see what's hidden from the naked eye, and I could discern the signs of inner tension from the girl's posture. Annie's shoulders subtly tensed, her breathing became more measured, as if she was consciously controlling it, and her pupils slightly dilated. Let me save real quick. Yeah. Her face showed indifference, but her body betrayed her either aversion or fear. I'm fine, I'm ready. Sam smiled, but there was something unnaturally forced about it. The coach leaned slightly toward the girl, lowering her voice to an almost intimate whisper. If you feel uncomfortable, please don't hesitate to discuss it with me. You know I won't let anyone hurt you. Annie nodded silently, clenching her teeth so tightly that her cheekbones bulged. Thank you for showing me the way, Miss Rivers. The coach left the room, quietly closing the door behind her. Annie and I were alone. There was silence in the room. Annie stood, arms crossed, looking at me with defiance. Despite her petite stature, she somehow managed to look menacing. The air in the room seemed charged with her tension. I decided not to rush things and let her get used to my presence. I unobtrusively scanned the room, noting a curious detail. The room seemed to be divided by an invisible line into two completely different territories. The left half was in meticulous order, a made bed, even rows of books, and a clean desk, everything arranged neatly. The right side sharply contrasted. Clothes on the chair, textbooks scattered around and above the bed, wall covered with horror movie posters. I bet the mess is Annie's territory, judging by her wrinkled collar and crooked tie. This girl's not the type to fold her socks by color. Mind if I sit down? Suit yourself. Annie dismissively waved her hand towards the neatly made bed, but she remained standing. How are you feeling, Annie? I know it's hard to get through this. How do you think I feel? I found my classmate's body, and now everyone's asking me questions if it's my fault. Do you even have any idea what it's like? Annie abruptly turned to the window and took a deep breath, trying to calm down. She turned back to me. Her face expressed a mixture of irritation and fatigue. And that stupid fire alarm. The school is on edge, and I can't even get any sleep. I understand you're going through a tough time. Can you tell me how close you were to Evelyn? A tough time? Are you sure you're not a psychologist? I already told them I don't need a shrink. No, I'm not a psychologist. I'm here to figure out what happened. My job now is to talk to Evelyn's inner circle. If you need her inner circle, you got the wrong door and should go talk to Sophie. We weren't friends with Evelyn. Why? You were on the same swimming team and classmates too, weren't you? Annie rolled her eyes and asked the stupidest question in the world. She popped down on the edge of the bed opposite, showing her irritation. Being on the same team doesn't mean you have to be friends with everyone. Why would I do it? We had nothing in common but the pool. She had eyes like a dead fish, always silent and staring at everyone. She liked to stick her nose where it didn't belong. And what do you mean by stick her nose where it didn't belong? Annie's reaction was immediate. Her eyes widened as if she just realized what she said those words out loud. Panic, confusion, and finally irritation flashed across her face. She abruptly sat up straight and clenched her fists. Nothing in particular, it's just, some people always notice everything, remember it, use it against you. She was like that. She studied everyone like bugs under a microscope. There's some backstory behind those words, but will Annie share it? She doesn't seem friendly with me right now. Did Evelyn have conflicts with anyone? Perhaps with some of her classmates or your coach? Nothing like that. Did you see her yesterday afternoon? Maybe she looked depressed or worried about something. I told you we didn't talk. I didn't see her. Anyway, I don't keep track of what people do. I have enough worries of my own. Took out my notepad from my inner pocket and made a brief note. The sound of my pencil on paper was too loud in the quiet room. Annie fidgeted on the bed, her gaze darting to the notepad and back to my face. They told me you found Evelyn in the changing room. Why did you need to go to the pool at 10 in the evening on Sunday? Annie froze. The silence in the room grew tense, broken only by the ticking of the clock on the wall. Seconds stretched into an eternity before she finally reacted. The girl jumped off the bed, her face contorted with anger. Despite her petite stature, Annie looked intimidating. Are you accusing me of something? Who are you? A cop? I don't see your badge. You have no right to interrogate me. Let's save first. Just make sure we do the right thing. Responding to our aggression with approach is pointless. I'm likely to achieve anything. It's not an interrogation. I'm just trying to piece together the events. If I ask an uncomfortable question, you can move on to another topic. I'm not here to excuse anyone, but to understand what happened. Annie blinked, not expecting that reaction. Her shoulders relaxed slightly, though her gaze was still wary. Slowly sat back down on the bed, looking away and avoiding eye contact. When she spoke, her voice was softer, certainly seeping through her feigned rudeness. I forgot my towel in the changing room. I wanted to wash it before tomorrow's training. Nothing special. I just went in and I found her. Hey, I did the right thing. Nice. I'm sorry I was rude. It's just the whole situation, Evelyn might have been a bit odd, but she was still a nice girl. Thanks for being honest, Annie. If you remember anything else or need to talk to someone, call me anytime, day or night, doesn't matter. Took a business card from my inner pocket of my jacket and handed it to her. Annie took the card and nodded silently, tucking it into her uniform pocket. I stood up and headed to the exit. Quietly closing the door behind me, I stepped into the corridor. At that moment, my phone vibrated in my pocket. Took out my phone and saw a message from Nika. Number 63, Annie Harper and Mickey Elderwood. Number 65, Evelyn Frost and Sophie Williams. And number 73, Vivian Duvereau. I've already talked to Annie. Mickey wasn't in her room. So now I can go see Sophie Williams, Evelyn's roommate. Oh, Evelyn spelled incorrectly there. Nika said they were friends. I straightened my tie and moved to the corridor and to room 65. I reached the door, I knocked, no one answered. I waited a few seconds before I knocked again a little louder. I tried the door handle, the door is locked. Sophie must be in class or just doesn't want to see anyone after what happened. Reviewing the list again, I decided to visit the room of a student named Vivian Devereaux. The girl's last name seemed vaguely familiar to me. Okay. Lives in room 63. Roommate of Annie. Lives alone in room 73. Lives in room 65. Roommate of Evelyn. Shares room number 63 with Annie, one of the leading contenders for the grant. Used to live in room 65 with Sophie. I continued down the corridor, past identical doors with simple number plates. When I reached door number 73, I saw it didn't look like the others. Below the number was an elegant drawing of a crowded lion. Judging by the style and technique, it was a family crest. Knocked on the door, and almost immediately a female voice answered from within. Come in. Step into the room, I involuntarily froze in surprise. Make sure to save. The scene that unfolded before me didn't match the idea of a student room in a boarding school. Instead of a typical school dormitory furnishings, I saw something more akin to a 5-star hotel room. In the center of a space on a large bed, I noticed the room's owner, an elegant girl in a silk robe, surrounded by pillows. She stretched gracefully like a Disney princess who had just woken up. Daylight streamed through the translucent fabric of her robe, accentuated the curves of her figure. The girl hopped off the bed with the grace of a ballerina and took a step towards me. Miss Devereaux? The words slipped from my lips unexpectedly formally. Damn, why am I being so formal? She's Annie's age. But Annie looked like an ill-mannered junior high student, while Vivian looks like a young woman, confident in her beauty and influence. If it isn't a good time, I can come back later. It's all right, please come in. Vivian gestured to a poof and sat in the chair at the vanity table. Every movement she made, it was smooth and refined as if she were playing a role in a well-rehearsed performance. I accepted the invitation and sat down on the fluffy pink poof, discreetly observing the room's details. A private room with a double bed and a vanity table for a student? Even an elite school has its hierarchy, and Vivian Devereaux is definitely at its top. You're Mr. Crofton, aren't you? Please excuse my appearance. I didn't sleep well last night and dozed off. I'd say. Or something else in mind. Trying to seduce the detective, eh? Vivian turned to me, crossing one leg over the other. Sunlight from the window lit up her profile, highlighting her flawless features. Charming. Damn, I certainly didn't plan a meeting like this. I'm a detective, of course, but first and foremost, I'm a man. I can't help but notice that Vivian Devereaux is a rare beauty. Such a girl meets you in a translucent robe, anyone would lose their head. Besides, the age difference between us is not that big. Sorry for the intrusion. I must admit I didn't expect such an unusual encounter. I hope our conversation won't take too long and you can get back to your rest. My smile was warmer than it should have been for a formal conversation. Vivian responded with a slight curve of her lips. Something tells me we'll get along, so I wouldn't be upset if our conversation dragged a little. I froze, mesmerized as Vivian coquettishly tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear. It took me a while to come to my senses and remember why I was there. I took out my notepad, signaling that the time for polite pleasantries was over. It was time to get to the purpose of my visit. You probably know why I'm here. I need to understand what happened to Evelyn Frost. Any information might help, even if it seems insignificant to you. A great tragedy. I still can't recover from the moment I learned that our Evelyn is gone. I even thought about packing my things to go home. That's how shocked I was. And then I decided to stay to support the girls, especially Sophie. I saw her this morning. The poor thing is beside herself. They were so close. She's probably blaming herself for not seeing the warning signs. It's hard to accept the death of someone you love. You always think of what you could have done to prevent it. What words needed to be said. What actions should you have taken? Sometimes people make decisions but cannot prevent. Everyone has their own path and can choose when to leave it. You speak as if you're not particularly surprised by Evelyn's suicide. Maybe you noticed these warning signs? Evelyn and I would never had heart-to-heart conversations. Of course, if we were friends, I would have noticed something strange and would have immediately reported it. But given that we didn't communicate, it's hard for me to say if anything changed in her. Perhaps she looked the same, but who knows what was in her mind. What prevented you from getting along? You spent several years in the same class. You were her second classmate to mention that she was hard to get close to. May I be frank, Mr. Crofton? Of course, that's what I prefer. I think Evelyn's the type of person who prefers a company of her own thoughts over people. She never reached out to people, and people didn't reach out to her. It's simple. As for me, don't get me wrong, I wasn't biased against Evelyn. I don't really get along with any of my classmates. To me, they're kids. We have little in common. Aren't you all the same age? I'm talking about psychological age. I've always found it more interesting to spend time with more mature people. I prefer to discuss things that are more complex and meaningful than prom dresses. Fair enough. Get my little hair to go down. There we go. Vivian sounds quite self-confident. I'd even say narcissistic. Do you think pressure could have affected Evelyn? I know she was a good student and the best on her swimming team. Maybe her parents or Coach Sam Rivers expected results from her and Evelyn didn't want that? Something flickered in Vivian's eyes, a quick, almost imperceptible shadow. For a split second, her mask of social confidence wavered. Then the smile returned, even wider than before, but there was something strained, mechanical about it. It's as if someone had flipped an invisible switch to make her facial muscles adopt their usual expression but forgot to turn on sincerity. I don't know anything about her parents, and Coach Rivers, she wouldn't do that. There was a short pause. Vivian sat up straight in her chair as if someone had struck a ruler into her back. Though the girl's face remained unperturbed, her tense posture betrayed her desire to end the conversation.
Hello there.
Hi, Toaster. Welcome in, bud. How you doing? Hope you're having a good night, sir. Thank you for joining us. We're just making our way through the demo of this game called Rose Academy, which is an anime visual novel detective game with romance elements and a dating sim built in. So, yeah. We're flirting on all the girls and teachers in this school that we possibly can currently. And we'll see how far we can get in this demo before it kicks us off, but... run and run and run. Yay! Way to go. Thank you very much for the 10 stream streak, buddy. That's more than deserving of a shout out. Let me give you a quick shouty. If you're not already following Toast to Dojin, what are you doing? If you want to see some good DOS games, or maybe some Star Wars games, you better be watching his streams and watch his backlog challenges. Flirting with the murder suspects? I'm flirting with everybody. I'll show you my notebook right now. I have not done anything that wasn't flirty so far. So the hearts going up means flirty or a nice thing I did. So everyone I've talked to so far, I've not talked to Sophie yet, but everybody else I've flirted with or said something kind to that made them happy. So yes, I am flirting with every possible suspect I have currently, all 6 of them. So, yep, I'm making my way through meeting all these wonderful anime women and adult women and young women alike. So yes, Sailor Moon as well. Yes, but most of them are very flirty themselves too. So I'm just kind of like I'm giving back the energy I'm receiving from them, kind of thing. But yeah. We were reached out to by the game studio who made this game, KK Studios, via email, and they asked if we wanted to play in the channel. And I was like, hell yeah, I love when game studios reach out and ask me to play their demos or games on the channel. So we're making our way through this demo. I'd say we're close to about halfway done with the demo. Most playthroughs I saw were about 1.5 to 2 hours. I really didn't look much at them, more look at time on YouTube videos. So we're about halfway through this demo, I'd say, if not a little more. And yeah, I know the official release is in March of 2026 currently. But yeah, this is Rose Academy. Mr. Crofton, I understand you're looking for answers, but I'm afraid I'm not the person who can give them. My knowledge of Evelyn is that she was a good swimmer and didn't talk much, nothing more than you already know. Thank you anyway, I appreciate any information. I also have one more question. I rose to my feet, taking my time to continue the conversation. Years of work have taught me that sometimes silence elicits more truth than a dozen questions. Watching Vivian, I noticed how she froze in unnatural stillness. No movement, not a single breath, as if she was on pause. Her reaction can say a lot, and the most obvious is that Vivian's afraid I'm going to ask her an uncomfortable question. Do you know where I can find Sophie Williams? I knocked on her door, but no one answered. Having realized the question had nothing to do with her, Vivian relaxed and smiled again, more sincerely this time. On Mondays, Sophie usually has private swimming lessons. I know because I have the same training right after hers. So most likely she's at the pool now. Thank you, I'll look for her there, then. I closed my notepad and stood up. Vivian rose after me and headed to the door to see me out. I reached the door handle. It didn't budge, as if it was blocked. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, I have a defective handle. No one's rushing to replace it. Well, I'm used to it now. To open the door, you first need to pull it towards you and then push down the handle. Let me show you how. Oh. She's showing off a little bit more of her middle section there. Vivian glided the door and leaned slightly, demonstrating how to open the lock. At that moment, the collar of her robe parted a little. I noticed a dark mark on her chest. Ooh, a bruise. Until then, the mark on it had been under her top, but it was clearly visible now she leaned forward. Look closer. Hello there. Well, Toasta, I'll pause on this for you so you can see this little view we have of this mature senior student. What do you think? Is Toasta, is that a birthmark or is that a scar or is that a bruise? It looked like a bruise to me. I'm just saying. I'm really doing my detective skills right now. Don't interrupt. I'm gonna say bruise. Bruise like a peach. Well, looks like our elegant lady has secrets. That's a mark from someone's lips, not an accidental bruise. Oh, it's a hickey. She's got a hickey on her titty. How about that? She's playing around with somebody, eh? Judging by its bright color, it's quite fresh. Nika said students are allowed to leave the school ground. Nika said that only adult students are allowed to leave school grounds, and Vivian isn't 18 yet. That means her hickey is from someone within the school. Ooh, a Yuri romance maybe? Girl on girl? Amiya looked away, trying to make it as natural as possible. Last thing I wanted was for Vivian to realize I noticed what she was so carefully hiding under the silk fabric. Focusing on the door handle, I feigned complete absorption in the process of opening the door. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Vivian hastily adjusting the collar of her robe as if she sensed my gaze. I wasn't staring at your breast. No way, Jose. Just looking for clues here. My eyes are looking for clues. Thanks for your help. I like that. And for the information about Sophie, too. You're always welcome, Mr. Crofton. I hope you find the answers you're looking for, and if you need any more information, you know where to find me. Let's see what we got in our little book now. So we got at least one heart with everybody except for Sophie, who I haven't met yet. And then Vivian, we learned that she has a hickey on her chest. She likely has a romantic relationship with someone within the school walls. Nice. Nice. You go, girl. Leaving Vivian's room, I head to the pool, following the same route Sam had taken earlier. I passed the familiar turns, went down the first floor, and walked through the double doors where the distinctive smell of chlorine hit my nose again. I noticed a girl by the pool. She was sitting on the edge, her back to me, with her feet in the water. I walked along the pool, but the girl didn't react to the sound of my steps. Sorry to disturb you. Are you Sophie Williams? The girl flinched so hard that she nearly slipped into the water. She turned around sharply. In her blue eyes, I could see fear. Her red and swollen eyelids spoke of recent tears, and dark circles under her eyes indicated a sleepless night. Oh God, you startled me. I didn't hear your approach. She hastily wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, brushing away tears. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm James Crofton. They told me I could find you here. Ah, you're that detective. The principal warned me you'd be asking questions. There was no wariness or aggression in her voice, only fatigue and sadness. I picked up a rubber mat and sat down next to Sophie on the edge of the pool, keeping a respectful distance. She pulled her knees to her chest and absently ran her foot through the water. Oh, next ad break, y'all, in about a minute. Next ad break in about a minute. Miss Rivers gave me the day off today, but I couldn't stay in my room any longer. Every time I turned over, I saw Avi's side. Her books, her clothes, her everything. So I decided to come here. The water calms me. Were you close with Evelyn? Yes, Avi and I were best friends. She's great. So sensitive and kind, though many didn't understand that. Just Avi didn't know how to show feelings. She always kept everything inside. Sophie's talking about Evelyn in her present tense. She probably still can't accept her death. The girl took a deep breath, trying to hold back the approaching sobs, but her chin trembled. A single tear rolled down her cheek, and Sophie hastily wiped it away with her hand. Sophie, I'm sorry to ask, but I have to. Why do you think Evelyn might have decided to do this? Sophie turned to me sharply, her eyes flaring. Avi couldn't. I don't believe it. She would never do that. I know her better than anyone. If someone had been troubling her, something so serious, I would have noticed. If you don't believe it was suicide, then what do you think happened? Sophie flinched and wrapped her arms around herself as if she suddenly felt cold. I've been asking myself that question since last night, but I don't have an answer. When Avi didn't come to the dorm room last night, I immediately felt something was wrong. It was all like a dream, a terrible nightmare. I was about to go and look for her, but Miss Preston stopped me. I don't even remember exactly what she said. When she came into our room and I saw her face, I immediately knew something bad had happened. Sophie closed her eyes and exhaled loudly. Many people I talked to say that Evelyn was quite a private person. Do you think she might not have shared everything with you? Sophie's gaze drifted aimlessly across the surface of the pool as she gathered her thoughts. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I've been too focused on my own problems lately and haven't spent enough time with Avi. What kind of friend does that make me? A wave of emotions overwhelmed Sophie with renewed force. She buried her face in her hands, her shoulders convulsing with quiet sobs. Let's save in case we do the wrong thing. I couldn't remain indifferent, watching the girl helplessly cower, choking on tears. Did I do the right thing? Yeah. Aww. That's not her shoulder, though. That's her lower back hip. Carefully put my hand on Sophie's shoulder and squeeze lightly. Liar! You're too low for the shoulder. It's not your fault, Sophie. People sometimes hide their pain so deeply that even the closest ones can't see it. I promise we'll figure out what happened. Sophie froze but didn't pull away from my touch. Her shoulders gradually stopped trembling. Thank you. You're not alone. If you want to talk, I'm here. She looked up and a faint but sincere smile appeared on her lips. You're not what I imagined you'd be. What did you imagine me to be? I don't know, a cold professional who doesn't care about people? She sighed softly, as if gathering her strength. I should probably save, so I don't lose that good progress I made. And then gently removed my hand, not abruptly, but with fragile tenderness. I know you're not here to comfort me. You want to understand what happened to Avi. I'm ready to tell you everything I know. Do you know why Evelyn went to the pool last night? Did you see her when she left? Sophie stared into space as if trying to discern the ghost of yesterday. That's a fun, I like that phrase, discern the ghost of yesterday. It's quite a nice, literary phrase. Last time I saw her was yesterday after dinner. I'm not sure, but I think she said she wanted to talk to Miss Rivers about something. Sam seemed to say she spent the evening in her room. I'll need to talk to her again and clarify if Evelyn came to see her yesterday. You two were roommates, weren't you? After dinner, did Evelyn leave, or did you? At those words, something changed in Sophie's demeanor. Her shoulders tensed and her eyes darted around. I stayed in the room. First I was in the room, preparing for a test, then I went to dinner. I came back. No, before I came back, I went to the library to get some materials. Then I was back in the room with Annie left. That was around 6, right? Or maybe later. I think I already mentioned. So did you see Evelyn leave? Sophie's gaze flitted across the walls, the ceiling, the water, anywhere but at me. She began methodically winding strands of hair around her index finger, then straightening them and winding them over and over again. Yes, no, I was in the room when she was getting ready, but I had to return some books, and I probably left before her. Or she left before me. I can't remember. It was a hectic day. She's definitely hiding something. First, she claimed to have seen Evelyn around 6, but now she's confused about whether she was even in the room at the moment. What exactly was Sophie trying to hide? That she went somewhere? Or that she saw someone with Evelyn? Maybe she knows more about where her roommate was going. I won't pressure her. It's better to change the subject and come back to this later when I have more information. What about her family? Did Evelyn tell you anything about her parents, about the relationship? So everybody so far is showing something possibly shady, besides the principal. Like my old friend Kira, that's Nika, she's not showing anything, but Annie's just angry. She's got a book about eliminating the competition. She was very, like, surprised when I asked about the rope in her room. Sophie doesn't know what happened yesterday at all. She's all combobulated, and she has that mark on her chest. So everybody's got a little bit something to hide, it seems like, almost. What about her family? Did Evelyn tell you about anything about her parents and their relationship? She has a great family. I know Mr. and Mrs. Frost personally. They are good people and love Avie very much. That's even sadder then. I stayed with them for a week at the end of the summer before school started. They live in a beautiful house on the coast. You know what's most impressive? They spend every evening talking, playing board games or tennis. Avie's parents are just like there, talking without phones and constant excuses like, we'll talk later, I'm busy. It's so valuable when your family is genuinely present in your life, not just providing financially. Avie had both. She was lucky. Let's get this spam person out of here. Here we go. While Sophie was talking about Evelyn's family, I felt my phone vibrate in my pants pocket. It was inappropriate to get distracted at that moment, but it could be something related to the investigation. Thanks for being so open, Sophie. Your words have clarified a lot. I need to continue the investigation, but I'd like to come back to our conversation later if you don't mind. Sophie nodded slowly. Sure. I nodded goodbye to her and headed to the exit. At the door, I could turn back. Sophie was still sitting on the edge of the pool, her feet in the water. Sophie is like an open book, but with a few torn pages. At first glance, she's a sincere, sensitive girl grieving for her friend. But those inconsistencies in time, the nervousness, she's clearly holding something back. True that. She doesn't want to get the full story. The most dangerous secrets are sometimes kept by those you least suspect. Maybe Sophie's just a frightened girl who lost her best friend. It's too early to draw conclusions, but I should keep an eye on her. How are things going? Have you talked to the girls? Stepping in the corridor, I took out my phone and read a message from Nika. 91, motive unknown. Classmate, let's see, swim coach. Lives in room 63. Roommate of Annie. 73 has a hickey on chest. 17. 17. It's 18. Lives in room 65. Roommate of Evelyn. Haven't met Mickey yet. Classmate 16 years old. Competition for the grant. The night before, she wanted to talk to Sam Rivers about something. How's it going? You managed to talk to the girls? Talked to Annie, Vivian, and Sophie. The only one I couldn't find is Mickey Elderwood. Mickey's in the library, second floor, west wing. Talk to her, then come to my office. I'll soon have news from the medical examiner. Alright. Following the route provided in the message, I arrived at the library. Let's save real quick. Behind the heavy oak door, I am met with silence, broken only by the rustling of pages and barely audible whispers. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting oblique rays into the wooden tables placed between the bookcases. A few girls were sitting at the tables, their noses buried in books. Which one of you is Mickey? I unzipped my bag and took out my notepad, where I already put the photo of the students I had spoken with. Flipping through the pages, I noticed that Mickey Elderwood's photo wasn't there. I dug into my side pocket and spotted a lone photo that slipped into the corner. Must have fallen out when I was arranging the others. Oh, that's Mickey. I met her before. Picked it up and carefully examined the image. Wait a minute, I saw her today. She's the same girl I bumped into at the corridor when I was looking for Nika's office. What a coincidence. I scanned the library and quickly found the one I was looking for. Mickey Elderwood was settled in the furthest corner, barricaded by stacks of books. Sorry. The girl fixed her gaze on the pages, completely lost to reality. I stopped at Mickey's table and waited a few seconds, but she was so engrossed in her reading she didn't even notice me. Hello again. The girl sharply looked up, and her eyes, magnified by her glasses, widened in surprise. Seeing me, she instinctively snapped her book shut and with a habitual motion adjusted her glasses, which were sliding down her nose. Her cheeks immediately flushed, the blush spreading on the tips of her ears. It's you, the one, I mean, hello? She quickly glanced around as if checking whether I was talking to her or not to someone else. Her gaze had a mixture of disbelief and confusion. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed several girls in the neighborhood, in the neighboring tables, looking up at their textbooks, watching us with undisguised curiosity. One of them covered her mouth with her hand, whispering something to her neighbor. Mickey also noticed these glances, which intensified her embarrassment. May I? I gestured to the empty chair opposite. Mickey hastily moved some scattered papers aside and nervously nodded. Of course, please. I sat down opposite her and immediately noticed the book she had so hastily closed. The title on the cover was Mysticism Under the Microscope, a Scientific Analysis of Paranormal Phenomena. Another curious book with a strange title. Unusual reading, is that part of your curriculum or a personal interest? It's not exactly for class, it's a way of self-soothing, if I may say so. Though I know it's completely irrational and goes against common sense. Mickey nervously flipped through the book without looking up. Her fingers trembled slightly. Have you seen anything paranormal? Yes, well, I'm not sure. I thought someone was standing in our room at night in the dark. I noticed my imagination, the result of increased cortisol due to stress, but it was so real. Did you see Evelyn? The girl nodded shyly, confirming my guess. It's a perfect normal reaction after what happens. Shocks often cause such feelings. I guess you're right. It's just that Annie really scared me yesterday. Annie? You know, she's the one who found Evelyn, right? When she ran to her room late at night, her eyes were so big and wild. She's sitting on the edge of my bed half the night, telling me horrible things. Mickey spoke faster and faster, as if afraid that if she stopped, she'd lose the courage to continue. You know, she's into all this occult stuff. She said that those who die a violent or unnatural death are restless souls who remain forever tied to the place where they died. That they see our secrets, all our sins. Mickey lowered her voice almost to a whisper, nervously glancing around. And that they come to judge the wicked. Now that Evelyn wandered the school and punished sinners. I know it's superstition, but Annie believes it and she spoke very convincingly. And her posters too, I always thought they were creepy, but yesterday, I felt like they were watching me all night. Judge the wicked? Punish sinners? Is Mickey afraid that Evelyn's spirit will haunt her? Let's see. Reassure. Believe me. Let's see, I hope did. Okay. Shadows and corners just tricks the imagination. Everything has a rational explanation, even the strangest things. I need to look closer, speaking a soft, soothing tone. You know, I studied psychology and intimidation tactics at university. Annie used classic techniques. Darkness, isolation, talk of the supernatural. I don't think she was trying to scare you on purpose. It's more likely that she was on edge herself when everything just happened. Hey, what's up, Stones? Good to see you, bud. Way to have Mega Man shoot his giant Mega Blast at that Kirby butt. That's fantastic, my friend. Hope you're well, my friend. Always wishing you the best. Thank you for being here as always, my friend. You are fantastic, and people, if you're not following the amazing emoji man person themselves, Stoned Hero, please do so. They have great anime recommendations for you, and they're a good person all around, so give them some love and give them a follow. It definitely is. I love little Moogle. Kupo. I don't think she was trying to scare you on purpose. It's more that she's on edge herself, everything that happened. Such a state that the human brain is especially susceptible to suggestion. It's just biology and psychology, no mysticism. Mickey listened intently, her gaze becoming more focused. Her words seemed to have a calming effect on her. Yes, you're right, and I'm so stupid to fall for it. You probably think I'm ridiculously naive. No, not at all. I'd say you reacted quite reasonably. You started looking for a scientific explanation for what you saw. Hope you're well, buddy. What you been playing today? Have you had a chance to play any games today? And if those mysterious shadows appear again, I'm at your service. Ghost hunting is my weekend hobby. I winked at her with a slight smile. Mickey's cheeks flushed even deeper, but now there's a shy smile on her face. She's starting to relax. That's good. Maybe perhaps she'll be more open to talking. After a short pause, I decided to return to my purpose of my visit. I'd like to talk to you about Evelyn to understand what reasons for what happened to her. Can you tell me what she was like? The girl pondered, absently stroking the spine of the book. Evelyn was always quiet, you know, an introvert to the highest degree. Not that I'm judging, not a beacon of sociability myself. She was good at both academics and sports. Everything came easy to her. I could spend weeks preparing for an exam, making hundreds of flashcards for memorization. But Evelyn, she would only flip through a textbook during a break between practices, still get the highest grade. In academics, I still had a chance to surpass her, but in the pool, there was no chance at all. Evelyn was the best. Mr. Mickey was upset when saying that. Her voice trembled slightly and her fingers gripped the edge of the table. And Coach Rivers always held her up as an example. Look at Evelyn. Be like Evelyn. Why can't you swim like Evelyn? And you know what? I couldn't, no matter how hard I tried. Mickey fell silent, staring into space. Then she sighed and shook her head. It is too hard for me to understand what exactly happened yesterday and why, just like that, you all have it. You have it all, a dream life, and then it's all gone. Mickey definitely suffered from comparisons with Evelyn. But could this turn into anger or just a sad acknowledgement of someone else's superiority? What about the last few days? Did you notice something unusual? Maybe Evelyn was upset or argued with someone? Actually, something did happen yesterday. She lowered her voice to a whisper, glancing around once more to make sure no one was eavesdropping. Yesterday afternoon, when I was returning to my room, I heard Annie arguing with Evelyn. Well, to be more precise, Annie was yelling at Evelyn. Did you hear what they were talking about? I didn't mean to eavesdrop, no. Just that I was approaching my room, and they were standing in the corridor. Didn't hear the beginning of the conversation, but Annie was saying something about not sticking your nose where it's not wanted. And how did that conversation end? I'm not sure. When I approached, the girls fell silent and went their separate ways. What time did this happen? About 5, I think. Mickey frowned, adjusting her glasses in concentration. Yes, exactly 5. Annie had just finished her swimming practice. When they were talking, she was holding a gym bag and her hair was wet. Interesting. Annie Harper assured me that she hadn't spoken to Evelyn at all yesterday. Now it turns out they weren't just talking, they were even arguing. While I was taking notes, Mickey continued in a quiet voice. I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't want to badmouth anyone or cause trouble. It's just strange. Don't worry about it. I'm just gathering information. Every little detail, every observation, it can all be important. Thanks for sharing. Mickey let out a sigh of relief. Did anything seem strange to you yesterday? Well, it all was so as unusual, though, except maybe Sophie Williams. But I guess that's not relevant. Any detail may be relevant. So what about Sophie? I ran into her in the corridor before dinner and asked her a regular question. She was ready for the chemistry test. But she seemed confused and just ran away without saying a word. That was so unlike her. Sophie is usually very friendly and outgoing, even with me. At first glance, Sophie's behavior might not seem related to the investigation, but I still decided to record this information in my notepad. The sharp sound of the door slamming broke the silence of the library. I turned around and noticed that the last of the students had left the room. Only Mickey and I remained in the library amidst the endless rows of books. Oh, I'm late. She began to pack her things in a flurry, but then stopped, casting a guilty glance at me. But of course, the investigation is much more important. I think Mrs. Grimstock will understand. It's okay, I have no more questions for today. I don't want to cause you any trouble for your teacher. With a grateful nod, Mickey hastily began packing her textbooks. She moved so... I love that sound. Like a rainwater almost. One of those like rain catchers. She moved so fast that her pencil case slid off the table, scattering its contents. Her glasses slipped to the tip of her nose. Hey! It's a Ludlow raid! Hell yeah! Let's do a little dancey dance. Come on, if you got... Raid, raid, raid. Welcome in, Ludlow. Thank you so much for raiding, buddy. Let me give a shouty to my boy, Ludlow. Long time no see, bud. How you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for sharing your community with me. I appreciate you, bud. I am doing better. As I mentioned yesterday's stream, we moved, at the beginning, at the end of November, but we still had the other place until last Thursday. So I just finished up the inspection of the place last Thursday with everything, and had to go down there for carpet cleaning. We had to clean the house out twice. So and we had the kiddos music concert last week too. So I drove about a 4-hour round trip 5 times last week. Plus I've been sick the last couple weeks. Plus, after moving into our new apartment, we had to take everything out of our bedroom, including my streaming setup, and we had to put new carpets in because the other carpets were kind of damaged and falling apart. So we got brand new carpets put in, then everything got set up eventually yesterday. So lots of stop starts, but hopefully this is the start of back to almost regular streaming going forward. But I'm getting better. I'm not as sick as I was. I was coughing up a lung the last couple weeks and lots of phlegm and felt terrible and fatigued and weak. But I'm doing better. I'm getting there. But I'm okay, buddy. How are you? You also finished moving? Nice. How far did you move? Do you like your new place? Everything okay? And let me know what you were playing too. And thank you so much again for the raid, bud. Appreciate you sharing your community with me. Always appreciate that. If you're coming in with Ludlow Stream, you don't know me, I am Jordan, Midwest Game Guy, MGG for short. Play lots of variety of different games. I'm mostly an RPG streamer. Play a lot of indie games, visual novels, point and clicks, platformers. You'll see a wide variety on here, but a lot of turn-based RPGs is my bread and butter. So we have this, but we have a nice narrative-driven story tomorrow with Makes Monster DLCs. And then Thursday we're playing Live Alive, which is a great remaster of a Famicom RPG that I really like. And then we're off Friday and Saturday for family Christmas stuff and kiddo time. And then Sunday I'll be back with my premiere of Rhapsody, a musical adventure. So yeah, lots of RPGs to had this week still. So more narrative-driven experiences. We finished our kind of our detective stuff today, yesterday and today. But today we're playing Rose Academy, which is a demo for a game coming out next March by KK Studio, which is this game's like a visual novel, romance, dating sim, murder mystery, detective game. So a little bit of everything. Lots of flirting. I think you'd enjoy Kingdom of the Dump. I think so too. It's on my wish list. I know it's out. Money's tight right now with the move and everything still. So, but maybe next year. And I am very certain in 2026 I'll probably have some time to play Kingdoms of the Dump. I'd like to play all the games. I forgot, it's like some kind of alliance. It's like a game coming out that has like characters from like 16 different games or something, like 8-Bit Adventures 2 and like Chained Echoes and a bunch of other games. I know Kingdoms of the Dump's in it, so I really want to play that. But yeah, and you just beat it and it's fun. Good. Well, I take your recommendation with plenty of pride there, my friend, and I will definitely. It's on my wish list. It's close to the top of my wish list. So hopefully, maybe it'll be on sale during the winter sale coming up, starting next couple days. But yeah, no, it's definitely on my higher on my want list for playing next year. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Is there any game you would kind of compare it to? Like, that's more like a big studio game, and like a SNES kind of RPG, maybe like a Earthbound or anything of the like. Sorry, I'm a little burpy. Her glasses slipped at the tip of her nose as she bent down for a fallen pen. At that moment, her forehead met the wooden edge of the table. A muffled thud echoed through the empty library. Ouch! Her cheeks immediately flushed bright red. With one hand, Mickey rubbed her reddened forehead. With the other, she frantically stuffed the scattered pens and pencils back into her case. The girl had mumbled something unintelligible, clearly embarrassed by her own clumsiness. See you later, Mickey. Take care. She froze for a moment, meeting my eyes. Thank you. See you later. Clutching her backpack to her chest, Mickey hurried out of the library, as if afraid to say she'd say or do something even more awkward. After watching Mickey leave, I lingered in the library just long enough to make the last notes on my notepad. The pieces of information I gathered were slowly coming together. But for further investigation, I needed one more important fragment, the autopsy results, which had already come to Nika. What do we have? Everybody loves us so far. That's important. Annie argued with Evelyn the night before her death. Sophie behaved strangely the night before of the death. And we got Mickey's picture now. We lost Evelyn Frost there. That's our murder victim. Or possible murder victim. They're trying to paint it as a suicide, but everybody's asking very suspicious. After leaving the library, I headed back to the principal's office. I managed to gather a lot of information throughout the day, but each new fact raised even more questions. I mentally replayed my conversation with the students, trying to find a thread that would tie everything together. We have an interesting picture. Each of those with whom I spoke is hiding something. In the fire in the server room, what a strange coincidence. When I got to the right floor, I heard Nika's muffled voice. She was talking on the phone with someone. The office door was slightly ajar, and I could hear some words. I understand your concern, Mr. Thornton. We're doing everything we can. Okay, I'll wait for your call. I gently knocked on the half-open door just as Nika hung up. She turned to me. I noticed her wearily rubbing the bridge of her nose. James, finally, come in. Have a seat. Any news? I walked in the office and settled into my usual chair opposite her desk. Nika looked exhausted. She clearly had a hard day. I talked with everyone I planned to. There's a lot of information, but so far there are more questions than answers. What about you? I heard you talking on the phone. That was one of our board members. Everyone's on edge. I can imagine why. Alright. I'm still a little choked up. Don't mean to be gross, sorry. And news about the fire started to leak, but that's not the most important thing right now. Nika leaned back in her chair and sighed heavily. I spoke with the fire department. What happened in the server room was definitely arson. Are you sure? Absolutely. Someone set fire to a wastebasket after moving it right next to the servers. That wastebasket is off to the side, but someone moved it on purpose. Kayasu. Hey, Kayasu. Hi, Jordan. Just got up and wanted to say hi. Probably gonna go soon, but wanted to show up a bit. Always appreciate you stopping by, Kayasu. It's good to see you. We are just making our way through the demo of Rose Academy, which is a detective, romance, murder, mystery, anime, dating sim game. And the full version is supposed to come out from KK Studios in March of next year. So they reached out via email to see if we were interested in playing their game. I said, of course. Love helping indie creators and international devs alike. So we're just playing through this fun little demo before the big game comes out next March. Let me save real quick. But hope you're having a good day there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun so far. Really enjoying it. More detailed forensic results will be available tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll find something else useful. And what does your technician say? Johnson swears he just stepped out to the restroom for a minute. Says he heard the fire alarm there and didn't even realize exactly where the fire was. Of course, buddy. Appreciate you. And I hope the kitchen's coming along nicely. Nika stood up and walked to the window, looking at the darkening school grounds. Besides, Johnson has an alibi. One of our teachers, Miss Evans, confirmed she met him on the way to the restroom shortly before the fire alarm. Don't you think he could have prepared everything in advance, set the fire, and then deliberately walked past someone? Nika shook her head. I don't think so. In general, it's unclear why Johnson would commit arson. The risk is high and there's no benefit. And even if someone wanted to bribe him to destroy the records, there are much more reliable and less noticeable ways. I agree, after the fire, there's always a chance to recover data, and technicians understand that. That's why I think someone waited for Johnson to leave and seized the moment. I thoughtfully tapped my fingers on the armrest of the chair. Speaking of data recovery, I have a friend who can help. No need, I already arranged everything. I can't entrust that work to Johnson, even though I don't think he's guilty. But I have trusted people who promised to help with it. And you're already taking on too much. At that moment, Nika's computer made a familiar notification sound. She turned to the monitor and noticed how sharply her expression changed. The medical examiner's report just came in. I merely got from my chair and walked over to Nika to see the screen. She opened the email and began to study the document together. Amidst the medical terms and formal phrases, I merely caught the key points of the report. The ligature mark on the neck of circular instead of a typical oblique line, expected in hanging due to the tension of the noose. Pre-mortem loss of consciousness established. The pressure was applied externally without the involvement of the body's gravity. So there was somebody involved. There was foul play, it sounds like. Oh, we have our next ad break in about a minute, y'all. If you get ads, if you happen to have ads, it's in about 50 seconds for that next ad break. Time of death between 10:10 and 10:30 p.m. Nika slowly leaned back in her chair, her face pale. She reread the report several times as if not believing what she had read. So it wasn't suicide. Are you holding up? She took a deep breath, trying to compose herself. Yes, I need time to process it. Someone killed Evelyn and then coldly staged it as a suicide. It means the killer is still here at school, walking the same corridors as the students. It's hard to think the killer is smiling in my face every morning. That is one of my students or teachers. James, do you have any theories who could have done this? I understand it's only been one day, but maybe you already have some ideas. It's too early to draw specific conclusions. Besides, the fact of murder changes the approach to the case. Now we need to analyze not Evelyn's psychological state, but the motives and opportunities of potential killers. But I need more time. Tomorrow I plan to conduct an additional interviews, and I point at the computer monitor. And I'd also like to see the recovered camera footage, if possible. About the footage, my contact promised to be quick. The first recovered file should be ready by tomorrow evening. It won't be possible to restore everything. The expert sent me a list of cameras available for work. We need to decide which one to restore first, since each one takes a full day. Nika moved close to the monitor and opened the email with a list of available cameras. Which recording should I ask to restore first? Let me see. Let me save real quick. Yesterday. School corridors, third floor. Sure. Nika turned on the computer and began typing a message. She then turned back to me. By the way, I checked across the access control system in the main gates. Evelyn hasn't left the school grounds since the beginning of the school year. She paused, frowning. And while checking the system, I noticed something strange. Yesterday at 8 in the evening, Sophie Williams entered the school grounds and then left at 10:30. Which is about when Evelyn was thought to be dead, which is 10:10 to 10:30. There's no data about how she left the school during the day, nor is there data about how she returned after her night walk. Sophie didn't tell me she left the school grounds yesterday, and she behaved strangely when I asked her what she was that evening. What confuses me that even more is the discrepancy in the system. How could Sophie enter the school when she was already inside and leave while remaining on the school grounds? Perhaps it was the system glitch? I don't understand either. We have the information that this registration system is quite reliable. Each exit entry is automatically recorded and duplicated on the server. Quickly made a note on my notepad. Nika stood up, walked to the window outside, which is already dark, and exhaled heavily. It's too late outside. Perhaps we continue tomorrow? We still have a lot of work to do. She turned to me. If you don't mind, you can stay here overnight. There's a spare room in the guest wing. Considering the distance to the city and the fact that we need to start early tomorrow, that's a reliable suggestion. Time is against us. The longer we track this out, the more chances the killer has to cover their tracks. Then I'll walk you to your room. By the way, I've asked for dinner to be brought right there. You haven't eaten anything today. We left the office and walked into half-empty school corridors. Most of the students were already in their rooms, but occasionally we'd come across a late student or a duty teacher. All the way to the room, Nika remained silent, nervously fingering her keys. The news of the murder knocked her down. Besides worrying about the school's reputation, she now also has to endure this nothing happens to her students. Here we are. Stop at door 15. Nick unlocked it with a key, which she immediately handed to me. If you need anything, call me. Don't be shy. You have my number. I turned to Nika. Nika, listen. Hee hee. I did the right thing. I made her heart meter go up with me. Gently touched her hand, forcing her to look up. I understand how you feel right now, but I want you to know that we will find the killer and figure out what happened, I promise you. Nika looked at our hands, then raised her gaze to my face. If you ever need to talk, vent, or just not be alone, I'm here, anytime. Thank you. Really, thank you. You know, when I called you this morning, all I could think about was what happened to Evelyn. I had no idea that our meeting would be like this. Yes, despite all these terrible circumstances, I'm glad to see you again. Nika slowly traced the outlines of my knuckles with her finger and squeezed my hand one last time. Good night, James. Good night, Nika. I turned the handle into the guest room, closing the door behind me. A little food tray. Nice. Very cute. Let me check my notes so far. Everybody likes me. Nothing new about them. Sophie entered the grounds at 8 p.m. and left at 10:30. No data for a daytime exit or re-entry. Unclear how she got back to school. Time of death, 10:10 to 10:30. On the nightstand next to the bed was a tray with dinner, which had already cooled down. Before I start dinner, I'll make a call to my old friend. Andy. Took out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found Andy's name. Andy was my old summer camp friend who now worked in the information and analysis department. Over the years, we helped each other out more than once, but every time we worked together, I had to put up with the constant grumbling and inexhaustible sarcasm. I pressed the call button, leaned against the headboard of the bed, and waited for an answer. After the third ring, I heard a familiar voice in the receiver. "Oh, who have we here? James Crofton in the flesh. Let me guess, you finally decided to buy me a beer?" His voice sounded cheerful. I could hear him chewing something. He was probably having dinner. "Not this time, buddy, but if you help me with something, I owe you one." "Oh, sure, you already owe me a couple of cases. When was the last time you called me just for kicks? Am I saving your phone as Andy the problem solver?" There was Andy's usually good-natured irony in his voice. Though you know what? I'm even flattered. It means I'm so good that James Crofton himself calls me when he's in trouble. You're not as irreplaceable as you think. Everyone else is smart enough not to answer calls after work. Oh, that's it. So I'm the last hope of a desperate man. Even better. Andy laughed, and I realized his mood had finally improved. "Tell me what happened this time." Long story short, I need to look up a couple of people, a few students, and a swimming coach. There was a meaningful pause on the other end of the line. I could almost see Andy raising an eyebrow. He burst out laughing so loudly that I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "You dog. You're on vacation. You're hanging out with some girls and didn't invite me? What kind of friend are you after that?" "This is serious business, Andy. Nika called me yesterday and I asked me to investigate a suicide at the school where she's a principal. Turns out it was a murder." Nika, I heard that name somewhere. We were together at Bear Cliff." "No way, that Nika from camp? The green-haired girl you've been crushing on?" "That's the one." "Holy cow, I thought her contacts were long gone." I remember you going crazy when she disappeared from camp." "What a reunion. Be sure to say hi to her for me. I'll let you know as soon as I see her. From now, can you help me with info on the suspects?" Andy sighed heavily. I knew the usual whining about risks and difficulties was about to begin. "James, buddy, it's not easy to look for information when it's not an official case. Taking information under no legal obligation is risky. If they see me looking for data on people outside of a case, I could get fired." Andy's voice grew more pitiful, a classic tactic he used when he wanted to negotiate better terms. "We got a new department head now, and he's incredibly meticulous. He checks every request. Please think of something for old time's sake. I'm clearly short of data to figure out what's going on here. I only have 3 days left." A long pause. I can almost physically feel Andy weighing the pros and the cons. "You understand that if I get caught, I'll have to say I did it at your request, right? I understand. I'm ready to take responsibility. But for a favor like this, you owe me just a couple of beers, but a couple of cases. Good beer, not the cheap stuff. And dinner at that steakhouse we've been eyeing for so long. Deal, you'd really be helping me out, Andy." "Damn, you agreed so quickly. I should have pushed for more." "Okay, I'm even curious now about the story you've got there." Couldn't help but chuckle. Andy was as predictable as a Swiss watch. "But to avoid suspicion, I can only check one of the girls per day. I have a friend in the archives who might accidentally stumble upon the necessary information during routine work. You don't have much time, so choose wisely. Who do you need first?" "I'd like to know about." Let me save. Let's do the swim coach, because she was going to talk to the swim coach that day. "Sam Rivers." "Got it. I'll call you tomorrow when I have something. Thanks again." We said goodbye, and I put my phone in the nightstand. Talking to Andy's has always lifted my spirits. It's nice to hear his voice. I knew there were people I could rely on. Took off my jacket, loosened my tie, and sat on the edge of the bed and looked at my cold dinner. I had no appetite, but I needed to eat. Tomorrow was going to be a tough day. I wonder, where will all this lead me? A murder in an elite school, fire in the server room, strange inconsistencies in testimonies. Someone's working hard to cover their tracks. But every criminal makes a mistake sooner or later. The main thing is not to miss it. Hey! We made it through the demo in the first day. Well, y'all, if you enjoyed that, even just a little bit, please check out the demo yourself, if you'd like, or check out the full release from KK Studio. When it comes out, I was told March of 2026, so about 3 months away from a full release. But yeah, if you love this and you want to flirt with all 6 of these wonderful anime ladies, then you're more than welcome to, and we'll try to discover the reason for the murder of Alvi. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for KK Studios for reaching out to me to ask me to play the demo. I'm very flattered when studios reach out to a little old me. I'm still quite the small streamer, despite having 333 awesome, amazing game fam members. So thank you guys very much. Thank you very much to our most recent followers, as always, Thunderous Quiet and Magnet Chip. You guys are great. I appreciate you. And hopefully next year we can hit 500 followers on the channel. I think it's very possible and doable to add at least 167 new family members to the Game and Fam here in the Midwest. So yeah, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being such a kind audience, as always, and enjoying independent games and supporting small creators such as myself. Like I said, tomorrow we'll be playing the recently released Meg's Monster DLC. We played the full Meg's Monster game on the channel before by our friends at Odin Cat Games, which we played all the games in their Steam library currently. Next year they should be coming out with Mouse Busters, which we're very excited about. But in the meantime, there is a Meg's Monster DLC called Lost Memories. And there also is a companion piece called Puppet Memories. So we'll probably play the Puppet Memories. It's about 10-20 minute companion piece first, and then head straight into Lost Memories DLC. So yeah, kind of touched on the Meg's Monster. If you haven't seen it already, go to my YouTube channel and check out. See if I can put that up for you. If you have not seen the playthrough of any of my Meg's Monster, you mentioned the Magnet Chip. Welcome in, Magnet Chip. Appreciate the follow, of course. We really much appreciate a new friend coming into the chat there. Use this from now on. Don't forget about the VIP. I'll decide who gets VIP. You can't. You're new here, Chip. You don't boss me around, even though you're quite the cool character. But yes, check out the YouTube channel if you haven't. Boy, ha ha ha. But check out the YouTube channel if you want to see the Meg's Monster playthrough, or if you missed any of today's playthrough, I will upload it here shortly in the next couple hours on YouTube as well. But check out KK Studio and their game Rose Academy coming out this March. And again, we'll see you tomorrow for more indie game goodness. Thursday playing Live Alive, thanks to the wonderful Lord Wolfgang for giving me an awesome game before an early Christmas present. And then we'll be off Friday and Saturday, and Sunday we'll start Rhapsody, a musical adventure. So yeah, a couple more RPGs this week and some narrative-driven experiences tomorrow. So hope to see you there. If not, I wish you well, and I hope you have a happy early holidays if I don't see you. And as always, stay safe, be cool, game that game, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys, have a good night. Let's raid out real quick.